Hello everyone, my name is Barbara. I'm a Polish girl who lives in Ireland and likes to knit, and today I'm going to show you a finished object. And this finished object doesn't fully look the way it should. So now, first things first, I'm going to tell you about tools and the yarn, and the last will be a few things about the pattern and why do I say it hasn't been done the way it should be. Obviously some personal touches. First things first, a bag. This bag I received from a local bag maker like 2 years ago. I love it so much. You know how much I love flowers. The fabric is just amazing. I love it so much. I added over here information what I'm knitting just in case I put this project on the side for a while, so I know what's inside there. My keychains. And that's a mixture of everything actually, because one thing will lead to another, and yeah. Okay, let's start with tools. So the tools I used these needles. As you can see, it's Hayas. This is 3.5 millimeters, which is US size 4, and in my lovely Silent Forest berry color. I love it. I have scissors over here because I had to make tassels. Those needles and cables you can find in my shop, so check the links down below if you're interested. However, the pattern calls for 4 millimeters needles, which is US size 6, but as always I claim that I'm a loose knitter. I went a half size down, just to be safe. All the tools I used, here in my DPN pouch, you can notice some hooks. I have 2 hooks over here just to help me to create tassels and just put the yarn through the points. And yeah, I'll tell you more about tassels in a while. First time making them. Silent Forest, blue color. Okay, so I told you about needles, so let's talk about gauge. Did I do any gauge? Do I do any gauge for shawls? No, I don't. That's why probably every video you hear I'll mess up something. So anyway, just to let you know, in case you're very precise about the gauge, this pattern calls for 18 stitches by 44 rows in 10 centimeters, so 4 inches in a garter stitch measured during wet blocking. The overall measurements of the shawl should be 170 centimeters, which is 67 inches, and the height 65 centimeters, which is 25.5 inches. My shawl went a little bit longer, definitely. Also, the pattern tells you to use those needles, but circular needles, they recommend 80 centimeters, which is 32 inches. I went a little bit longer because that's what I like. I used 100 centimeters, which is 40 inches. Now, what else you can find, but it's not in the pattern per se, but on Ravelry first information, is the recommended yardage. So for this pattern, it states that you will need 800 yards, which is 732 meters. Which I thought, you know, 2 skeins, approximately 400 meters will be enough, although my 1 skein was a little bit less than that. So I end up running out of yarn and I added something else, but I'm happy with the results. So maybe show you the difference. So you can see we have 2 colors, but then we're changing slightly to a different one. I think that's a quite nice effect. In person, probably you will see it more, slightly more. Okay, so what I like in regards to shawls, I love shawls that you can knit with 2 skeins, not more than that. And definitely 1 skein project is also a thing that I'd be interested in. If you know any patterns, write down below. Okay, let's go to the goodies. So, yarn. Now, pattern tells you that you need a color, contrast color 1 and contrast color 2. I wasn't sure which one is which one. Obviously, I was a little bit lazy. Maybe not lazy, but I wanted to start I have those 2 skeins, go for it. So basically the pattern just tells you what yarn was used and what the colors of those yarns were, the contrast color 1 and 2, but it doesn't tell you specified light color or dark color. So I'm going to tell you now. For the contrast color 1, it's my green color, and then from contrast color 2 I have my, let's call it white color, which gives you effect that the main stitch that leads through the shawl is green. So if you want certain yarn to be in that stitch, that should be your CC1. Hope I helped. Okay, so yarn. So first things first, in regards to the green, so my color number 1 is this one. This is a lovely, lovely, lovely color. And now I do not know the color, but I know the brand. I have different skein. So this is it. This is Knit 1 Crochet 2. Here is the brand. Don't look at the color number because it's not the one. So you can see it. And this is the front. And here is the front, and all the information in regards to the blend. And as you can notice, I have a silk content over here. Remember that the shawl tells you to have 800 yards, so 732 meters. So I have 380 meters with one skein, which is 65% superwash wool, 20% nylon, and 50% silk. And I still have leftovers. I'm going to weight it and show you over here what I have left. The other color that I wanted to mix is this one. It's a Knit Picks Aqua Speckle. Beautiful color. Here is more information, and this is a different wool. So this is 80% superwash fine high-lined wool, and I used this wool before. If you remember, I used it in this shawl, which is So Close Shawl by Devixta Designs, and I noticed after wearing it and washing it that it kind of blooms a bit, I would call it. So I thought that would be a very good combination with the silk blend and this high-lined wool. We have 20%, 80% superwash fine high-lined wool and 20% polyamide. We have over here 357 yards in 100 grams. I haven't even checked what that's in meters, and I operate in meters, so maybe on the screen here. And this is my math in regards to those two, in meters and in yards. So now, I run out of Knit Picks. This is how much I have left. As you can see, it's a beautiful light aqua color, speckled, very good, with some purple elements. You have first page which you have for vertical, which is a beautiful photo, and I can show you this photo over here definitely. And then we have the rest written down horizontal in 3 columns. So at the end of the column you will have a certain sequence that you need to do, and I couldn't follow it through the pattern, so I had to do a bit of my own thing quickly, bing bing. And I thought that after that column, because I'm using an app which is Knit Companion, just in case you're wondering, I just saw that much. I didn't really went to the second column, so I thought that would be it, especially repeating it for so many times. And while I was finishing, I was so happy because I have just that bit left with the yarn, and I thought, yes, I managed. Even though anyway, if we will have to bind off this color, I will just use my number, contrast color 1. But I went to this third column and I noticed the whole sequence has to be repeat one more time, and that's why I had to find yarn for this section. And I found it, this beautiful yarn. If you watch me, you may have noticed that I received during December, when I received a beautiful package from Diane, and we were opening every day something, and this beautiful yarn was there. What is this yarn? Listen. I don't really pay attention too much who dyes yarn. I just looking for colors that will suit to my project. And I took a photo of this. So here, Dragon Horde yarn. And what we have 75% merino, 25% nylon. We have 100 grams, which is 462 yards. So maybe on the screen over here, I'm going to tell you what's in meters, because I operate in meters. And this is a beautiful colorway, Filibuster Fireworks. I hope I'm saying it right. Just in case I'm not saying it right, please check the screen now, pause if you need details. Tristan is a podcaster. She has a podcast with her mom. Her mom also has a shop and she dyes yarn. And in the last episode of my knitting podcast, you can notice that I pulled them out of the jar. And it's not intentional that I'm using this yarn. It's basically, I just thought it will look beautifully in this project. And you can notice that I also, so I use it for I-cord. The pattern tells you that you can do peacock bind off if you want to. I went with this. You have information how to do it, written information, and we have tassels. You can mix things up if you want to. Final touch, my tag, Knitting I Love tag. Check it out, my shop. This one is fabric, but remember I have also felted ones. They're slightly thicker. But if you're interested how they look like, just check my Instagram or check my other project when I was putting them on. I won't be bothering you with that, but you can check my shop, link is down below. So yeah, one thing I was missing, especially that I've been doing it for the first time, I think, especially that way, that was amazing. So the way the I-cord is written down in this pattern is such a pleasure to do I-cord bind off. You have only 2 photos in the pattern, and it doesn't show you how it looks with the peacock bind off. So I had to roll for it. So I went with this one. I thought it would be amazing, and it is amazing. I'm thrilled. I went to the project page and the tab we can find other projects, and there were just maybe 2 or 3, so not that many. Probably now you will have more and you will see more. In regards to tassels, tassels were something new for me and they're not perfect. Not perfect from perspective that you can see knots, and I'm thinking now that I could probably have a longer, especially when you're doing, if you have never done tassels, that's how they look like. You just, it's not really a big thing, I can probably tell you, it's like making a pom-pom. You cutting a long thread or yarn, then in the middle, you just tie them with another one, so longer a bit. Then you need another thread to put it around and make a knot. So I did that, and I cut the yarn, and I could have it even longer and just pull it inside and hang them. So I want to have those, I don't know, can you see them? Those knots up here. And then kind of I got smarter, and I did that with the thread or the yarn that I was pulling through over here, making knots, and then I just pull it with my little hook down, and I trimmed it. So just in case, a tip from me, obviously probably knew that already, it's just I don't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Next time I'll do it, I'll probably do that way, although it takes a long time to make them. I think I watched amazing podcasts, Becky's podcast, and that's how long it took me to make them and put them on the shawl. I hope I said everything I wanted to say. If you have any questions, please leave down below. Don't forget to let me know it's your favorite shawl that you've knitted with 2 or 1 skein, because I don't have any shawls on my needles. Or what you can do, you can actually leave the comment under the photo of the shawl that you've knitted on Instagram, and I'll definitely see it that way. You can use hashtag knitting I love, or you can tag me. So here how it looks like. So as you can notice, it does not look triangular. It's supposed to be a triangular shawl. So my theory was, because I wrote down a piece of paper and I wrote down each row what I wanted to do, right? And I thought maybe I made a mistake. But I checked it twice and I haven't. So I started thinking that maybe I was adding 1 stitch on one side more than on the other. I checked that and I didn't. So the only thing that I think I was doing differently, there are 2 things that need to be taken into consideration. For you probably, there is involved like a slip stitch, and as I read lately, because I was interested in this topic, you may have the fabric is more dense. I think that's how you say it. So that's why the garter stretched nicely and this was a little bit tight. So if you're knitting that section, make it looser if you can, I would say. The second thing what I did, because I like to mix methods of knitting, we have a traditional, let's call it, and knitting, knit and purl, and I'm Polish, so I know how to do Eastern type of knitting or style of knitting. I don't know how to call it. So I figured out for that section I could actually do it and maybe that made it tighter too. Although I'm pleased and so happy with the finished object, so I would tell you to go and knit it. I love the texture of it. I said a tassel is a big thing, I would say. They look beautiful, but they will take some time. But the final effect is gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed this one. See you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe, like, wait for my next episode. that I will chat more about things, make your neck warm, and just flip. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video and tell me all your suggestions for next project, shawl project. Don't forget to use hashtag knitting I love. Show me what you're knitting, or you can use that hashtag and also show me your favorite shawls that you've knitted, and we'll need to just browse it through on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Bye.